My name is Stephen Mordue, and I am a lecturer in social work at University of Sunderland and co-author of a book, How to Thrive in Professional Practice, um, and an advocate, I suppose, for how self-care can fuel your productivity. I love self-care ideas, but it's not just bubble baths and candles, important as those things are. It's about how self-care can actually fuel your ability to be productive and get things done. And when I talk about being productive, I don't just mean kind of at work or maybe as a student getting assignments done. I mean being productive in kind of all spheres of your life. Productive in how you work at things, productive in how you relax. Um, so what I wanted to talk about today really was an aspect of that, which is mindfulness. I'm a great believer in starting by setting your intention to a task, by deliberately setting your mind to it, by planning it. And then once you get to a task, paying attention to that task. And that to me is the nub, if you like, of being productive. So mindfulness in my head is about that attention in the moment to the exclusion of everything else. Some people that can interpret mindfulness as kind of more like a meditation, if you like, and sometimes there are things that we will set our attention to that take our attention away from the external world, or take our attention away from the tasks that we're doing, and give us time to think. So I like to think about mindfulness kind of as that kind of thing, rather than a kind of emptying of your mind, setting yourself to a task mindfully. Mindful action helps us to avoid multitasking, and multitasking, the productivity literature is fairly unanimous on this, that multitasking is a lie. It's an illusion. We can't multitask. We can't do more than one thing at once. We can only do one thing at a time. There's an interesting experiment conducted by Microsoft where they had their programmers programming away, and they interrupted them with an email. And they found that having interrupted them with an email when they went off to read that email, so trying to do two things at once, program and read emails, kind of in the same space, they found that when they went back to the programming task, it took them 10 to 15 minutes to get back up to the productivity level that they were at prior to being interrupted by the email. So when you're doing your deep work, it's essential that we do that mindfully, i.e., to the exclusion of everything else. So that's my kind of philosophy, I guess. That's my meaning, my understanding of mindfulness, and I wanted to kind of try and align it to kind of where we currently find ourselves. I suppose we're in the midst of this lockdown situation, and have been for some time now, and I'm always keen to say to people that the things that worked outside of lockdown and will work outside of lockdown still work now. So the things I'm going to talk about three key points in the day. They work now because I think they specifically help us with transitions from life to work and work to life, because often for many of us those things are now happening in the same space. But also these things will apply and be successful as strategies outside of that. So I'm going to talk about mornings, lunchtimes, and end of days. So the first one is to have a startup strategy for your day. I'd suggest having a startup strategy for your morning before you're going to embark on whatever it is you need to do for the day. But then have a startup strategy for the start of your working day, whatever that means for you. And the thing I want to talk about is visualization, or mind's eye rehearsal, because what this does is it helps you kind of move into your productive phase of the day for your work. For example, I'm going to stick to work as an example. So by visualizing your day, by sitting down with your calendar, with your diary, and visualizing yourself move through that day, thinking about the things that you're going to do, thinking about the things that you're going to do skillfully, thinking about the things that where are the pinch points, where might you need to apply yourself a bit more strongly than in other places, where are the difficult kind of things in the day, where are the kind of less difficult things in the day. So you visualize your day, you almost rehearse your day, go through a mind's eye rehearsal of your day, and it's a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool. A piece of research with people who were given a piece of music, and some were given a piece of music and a piano to kind of play the piece of music on, and some were given just a piece of music and they had to rehearse the piece of music in their heads. And the researchers discovered that actually both sets of people managed to play the piece at the end of a time period just as effectively, because going through stuff in your mind really kind of helps you settle that thing in your mind. And this mind's eye rehearsal is planning. That's what it is. It's you are connecting with your day. You are thinking about whether you have all the right things that you need, and if you don't, you can quickly jot down the things you might need to get a handle on when you move into kind of this planning phase of your day, because planning is absolutely crucial if we're going to have successful days. All the right things in all the right places at the right time. So visualize your day ahead. Kick it like Jonny Wilkinson is what I have to say. If you're rugby fans, you'll know Jonny Wilkinson, and you'll know the other penalty kickers in rugby. They place the ball on the little plastic disc thing that they stand the ball in, and they visualize. They look at the ball and they look at the goalposts and they visualize the ball going through those goalposts, and they don't often miss. So mind's eye rehearsal, visualization, connecting yourself with the day. The second thing that I want to talk about is this middle point in the day, lunchtime. Absolutely crucial. From the moment you start work, motivation is in decline. Your ability to move through tasks and onto next tasks is in decline from the moment you start your working day, from the moment you climb out of bed, in reality, probably. So what we need is a bit of a rest in the middle of the day, a bit of time out from the pressures of work, from the kind of attention, the focused attention that we've been employing all morning. So lunch breaks are really important. And I have 4 rules for lunch breaks, which I always tell people. Rule number 1 is you must have one. Because of what I've just said, you must have one. And the reason you must have one is being well researched. Bristol University did a study that found that when people had a short lunch break and engaged in a little gentle exercise, I'll come on to that, their mood and motivation was enhanced by 41% in the afternoon, and their ability to deal with stress was enhanced by 20%. Now, we are biologically programmed to have a snooze in the afternoon. When we look at sleep and explore that, we're biologically programmed for that afternoon nap, if you like. But we don't get that, do we, in the modern world? The modern world gets in the way sometimes of our biology, of our chemistry, of our neurology. It gets in the way sometimes. So we're not going to get that snooze unless you work for Google or somebody like that. We're not going to get that snooze in the afternoon. So the more we can do over lunchtime to offset that thing that we know is going to happen later in the day, the better. So rule number 1, have a lunch break. Rule number 2, move away from the area that you are working in. So this is really important in terms of if you're working at home, because you need to think about how to strategically do that. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to move to? If you're working in the kitchen, where are you going to move to? If you're lucky enough to have a little office like I've got here, then where are you going to move to? Don't have your lunch sat in the same space. And the next thing is if you can, not so clever this time of year. I'm recording this in a cold February day. Not so good at this time of year, but if you can, get outside, and if you can, take some gentle exercise. In that Bristol University study, the people had some gentle exercise. And now, this is one of these places where the research literature is kind of a bit divided. Some of the literature says it's simply the fact that you take time away from the tasks you've been engaged in and you shift your attention somewhere else, and it doesn't really matter where that attention is to. as long as you move it away from the tasks you've been doing, the work tasks. And some of the research says actually it's the exercise that has the impact, or the being outside that has the impact. So I think if you make sure you have a break, move away from your desk, those are crucial. And if you can get outside and take some exercise, bonus, win-win, excellent. Okay, the final thing, we had a startup strategy, and we had a startup strategy to help us transition from our home life, if you like, into our working life. And one of the problems that lots of people have is that it's difficult to transition from work life back into home life, and it's particularly difficult at the minute because, like I say, those two things might be in the same place. So you need a shutdown strategy. Now, shutdown strategies for me, again, are about planning. So you are planning the following day, or on a Friday, planning the following week. Help you to set aside, order what is to do tomorrow, or in the next few days, or in the following week. So by planning and creating order, you stand more chance of being able to leave behind. So part of your shutdown strategy should be making sure that everything is in order and sorted for at least the next day, if not the next few days, if not even better, the following week. I have this thing that I say all the time now when I deliver sessions like this, which is this Friday is the most important day of next week. One of the big problems in social work practice, isn't it, is leaving behind that emotional content of what you've been experiencing. And there's research that shows that by creating order, by creating structure, by figuring out what you're going to do next week, while it doesn't mean there's not lots to do next week, but what it means is next week is ordered, leads to better weekends, leads to more of an ability to kind of leave behind. And one of the things that I think is part of this shutdown strategy that is really important is to go into a kind of mindful process of maybe journaling some things. Because one of the problems I feel when we have busy and hectic working days is that we tend to start focusing on the minute detail of things. We have a tendency to remember the things that didn't go very well. So I think by some reflective journaling, and I'm not talking about sitting there for half an hour and writing 3 pages of notes, I'm talking about maybe sitting there for a few minutes and bullet pointing some things that have happened during the day. By doing that, and by making sure you focus on some positive things that you can take away from your day, you again will put to bed, if you like, the emotions and the drama and the experiences of the day, and hopefully have a better night of rest or a better weekend of rest if you can do that on a Friday afternoon. So initiate a startup strategy. How are you going to plan and prepare for your day? And visualization is a really good way to do that. Take a lunch break and move away from your work area, and if you can, get outside and take some gentle exercise. And then finally, at the end of the day, have a shutdown strategy that helps you put to bed everything that you have experienced that day and plans the following day so that you can rest and relax on the night, knowing that while there's still lots to do tomorrow, you know what it is that is to do.